Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
Hello, good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
Homicide Police, what's the emergency?
Early intervention. We're given exclusive access to the new domestic abuse advisors dealing with 999 calls in our region.
This is really important to them as a service. They want to make sure that they're doing the best for people within Humberside who ring in and need that support.
To invest in Britain's security, in Britain's health, and to grow Britain's economy so that working people are better off.
Balancing the books as the Chancellor unveils her spending review, those at the sharp end of making ends meet tell us how life is for them.
Whether employed, it's people right across the whole stream that are needing help because they can't afford their utility bills, they can't afford their council tax bills, which have gone up again this year.
Extra time. All eyes are on Sheffield Wednesday as fans rally round to help and staff face another wait for their monthly wage.
And don't adjust your sets. We'll be catching up with Tommy Cooper, Eric Morecambe and...
Hi, I'm Bob Monkhouse, and for many years people called me Comedy Bronze, but join us on tonight's programme as we explore other comedy bronze here in this archive.
Hello, a very good evening to you. First tonight, ITV Calendar has been given exclusive access to the control room at Humberside Police to see how domestic abuse specialists are working alongside call handlers to help improve their response to domestic abuse.
It comes after our Unheard Voices investigation highlighted how many women were killed by men already known to forces across Yorkshire and Lincolnshire.
Well, Humberside Police is one of 5 forces across the country taking part in the trial known as Raneem's Law. And the mother of one victim told us she thinks it could have helped save her. Amelia Beckett reports.
Homicide Police, what's the emergency?
Humberside Police deals with some of the highest volumes of domestic abuse cases in the country. Those in its control room, the first responders to victims in their most critical moments. But in 2017, it was reported more than a fifth of domestic abuse calls to Humberside Police went unattended. Since then, the force has implemented a number of initiatives to improve that response. Most recently, Raneem's Law, embedding domestic abuse specialist Victoria in the control room.
So it's about when they're out there and they're doing their jobs, just being able to help and support and make sure that they can cover everything that they absolutely can while they've got that person with them, so that they're not then having to go back and try and re-engage somebody. It's about the right support and the right response at that time.
How have you seen a difference since February in some of the work that you've been doing?
I think there's been a huge difference because for them, this is really important to them as a service. They want to make sure that they're doing the best for people within Humberside who ring in and need that support.
It's a positive change.
It's support that Phyllis Daly says her daughter Jessica never got. She took her own life in 2018. An inquest into her death explicitly linked domestic abuse as an underlying cause and found failures by multiple agencies, including Humberside Police.
It was awful because when we really needed that help and we asked for their help, it wasn't there. And Jessica began not to have any trust or faith in the system that was there to protect her. So she lost confidence in it all.
Humberside Police has since apologised to Phyllis and now she's planning on working alongside them to help improve understanding.
Do you think Raneem's Law would have made a difference to Jessica?
I've always wanted Jessica's voice to be heard. And this Raneem's Law, domestic abuse worker in there, she would understand the terror, the fear. She would comprehend what Jessica was saying and trying to get across. So it's excellent that somebody is the voice of the victims.
And as domestic abuse cases continue to rise, that is more important than ever.
Last year, there were over 17,000 domestic abuse-related crimes across Humberside, representing almost 18% of all crimes recorded. That's almost 3 times the amount in the year 2015 to 2016, showing the huge demand placed on the force and the importance of getting that response right.
The force is also trialling video evidence in lower-level cases. So rather than victims waiting days for officers to take a statement, they can submit them immediately over video call.
It will literally just capture their statement live time, so they'll record it live time as they're having a conversation, sign it electronically, and that is captured instantaneously. The feedback from victims and the feedback from the staff in here is having a really benefit to the victims. That immediate kind of ownership, that immediate evidence capture is really crucial to victims for domestic violence.
Raneem's law was born out of a failure by West Midlands Police to connect previous incidents to each other. Humberside Police is now hoping by being part of this trial, future victims will get the service they deserve.
Amelia Beckett, ITV News.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised in Amelia's report, then please head to our website for help and guidance. You'll also find more details about her investigation into women killed by those already known to authorities.
The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, stood up before a packed House of Commons today to deliver a spending review which revealed more cash for the NHS, defence and schools, while other areas were inevitably squeezed.
And while those figures indicating the government's direction of travel until 2029 are in the millions and billions, 240 miles away in Scarborough, it's the pennies they're counting to balance household books.
Katie Oscroft has been in the town to ask if those living there are able to review their own spending.
A calm sunny day should always mean money in the pockets of those who work in this seaside town. But here they're not banking on the Chancellor's best efforts, making them better off.
I have made my choices. In place of chaos, I choose stability. In place of decline, I choose investments. In place of pessimism, division and defeatism, I choose national renewal.
Martin says nothing said today will make life easier.
Everybody's thinking money first. Are they going to fuel the cars up? Are they going to buy a new car, stick with an old car? It's just one of them things where you have to be careful on the decision you make, because 6 weeks down the road she might change something else.
Good boy. Linda's retired now after working in Scarborough's hospitality industry.
Everything's so expensive now. You've got to eke out your money month to month. I'm not the only one. I speak to neighbours, friends, and they're all the same. Everybody's the same.
Scarborough's Rainbow Centre is a charity. People can come here to eat and get support. It helped Paul when he was homeless.
It just really struggles sometimes, thinking like my rent could be like £1,000, and then on top of that you've got to pay for your energy as well.
The government's spending on social housing will hopefully help Natasha, but she has other worries.
Everything is just shot up. Rent, bills, everything is just gone up, and I currently can't work at the minute due to ill health, and then having a baby as well. It's hard.
And increasingly, people come here for debt advice too.
It's people right across the whole stream that are needing help because they can't afford their utility bills, they can't afford their council tax bills, which have gone up again this year, and everything is increasing.
Not feeling the support from the government at all.
Lynn says businesses are getting overlooked. Her bed and breakfast has been run by her family for almost 40 years, and she says this is the worst she's known.
The national insurance is really, well, we've been hammered. I only have one full-time and one part-time people that actually pay. I have to pay the NIC for, and that's, well, I think it's more than doubled.
Money can't buy the view from Lynn's guest rooms on a day like today, but there are fears that the long-term financial outlook is gloomy. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Scarborough.
Well, let's join our political correspondent, Charanpreet Kera, who's at Westminster. And as we've just heard, Charanpreet, some people in Scarborough aren't seeing any improvement in their efforts to make ends meet. So has Rachel Reeves' statement convinced her party and her critics, do you think?
Well, Ian, from her members, the members of her party, her fellow Labour MPs, I feel like it has. I think the tone from the MPs I've been speaking to here in Westminster, at least from the Labour Party, is one of excitement. They are pointing to the increased 3% per year for the NHS over the next 3 years, for example, the uplift of defence spendings, that it will get to 2.6% of GDP by 2027, and the announcement of 13 £29 billion for social housing over the next 10 years. Armed with all of those facts and figures, they've been hitting back against accusations that the Chancellor previously faced of bringing in an austerity-like situation in the country's finances, and instead saying that they're excited about what this will bring to the country. But you heard from people in Scarborough in Katie's report, so I spoke to the MP of Scarborough and Whitby, Alison Hume, and asked why people there aren't sharing MP's enthusiasm.
I recognise the cost of living crisis and people voted for change, and we are delivering on that change, but change takes time. But people will see the effects of what we've announced today coming through, and particularly with transport. So there's been a fourfold increase in the public transport budget, so the Mayor for York and North Yorkshire has got the flexibility to spend that fund. I'm really excited to see what he's going to spend it on. Better buses, better train services, things that my constituents really need.
Well, it sounds like a note of optimism from Alison Hume there, Sharon Preet. Will that convince people like her constituents, though?
Well, Ian, as you heard from people in Scarborough, the cost of living pressures that people have been living with since the pandemic are very much at the front of their minds. And these transport projects will take years to complete and years more before the effect starts to be shown in the economy. As Tom Gordon, the Liberal Democrat MP for Harrogate and Nesborough, says, some of those transport projects also appear to be concentrated in West and South Yorkshire.
I've already quickly skimmed through this, and Harrogate and Nesborough is not mentioned a single time. There's some money in there which has already been re-announced for West Yorkshire Mass Transit, but that's not going to necessarily mean anything for people in North Yorkshire, where we didn't get a penny announced for new transport funding.
Lots of spending announcements today on affordable homes, for example, which on the face of it you can welcome. Northern Power Rail, potentially, but all this has got to be paid for. We haven't seen all the detail behind yet, but I think it's inevitable there'll be tax rises in the autumn.
So concerns raised by Kevin Hollenrake there about the sustainability of that spending. We already knew that the winter fuel cut was going to be reversed. We might have thought that details of that would come from Rachel Reeves today, but they didn't. Although we did hear that some savings of around £1 billion would be made by ending the use of asylum seeker hotels. Although again, no detail about how that policy will be brought forward. Another complete surprise, Rachel Reeves' mention of Northern Powerhouse Rail. Now, in the whole of this 128-page document, it's not mentioned, but that detail could come in the coming weeks.
OK, thanks very much for bringing us up to date. That's Sharon Preet there at Westminster.
And that spending review dominates the national headlines at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening then with Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the ITV Evening News, the Chancellor sets out her plans for spending hundreds of billions of pounds of taxpayers' money, including an extra £29 billion a year for the NHS. A second night of rioting in Ballymena after a peaceful protest about an alleged sexual assault turned violent. And we meet the volunteers proving story time is for everyone. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, there's plenty more still to come on calendar. Still laughing, the trio taking comedy on the road to remember the greats of a bygone era.
And it's not Headingley, it's Haxey, and the Ashes are here. Find out why later in the programme.
But first, some news in brief now. Police say a man whose dead body was found in a canal in Sheffield had been to a police station a short time earlier. Officers recovered the 39-year-old's body from Tinsley Canal in the Darnall area of Sheffield yesterday evening. The death is currently being treated as unexplained, and a referral has been made to the Professional Standards Department.
A West Yorkshire police officer has been jailed following a conviction for rape and sexual assault. 23-year-old Kirklees-based PC Ben Bottomley was sentenced at Sheffield Crown Court to 4 years and put on the sex offenders register for life. His conviction followed an investigation by West Yorkshire Police into off-duty offences, which were reported to them after he joined the force.
Scientists in Sheffield have been awarded £2.3 million to develop new treatments for motor neurone disease. The grant will go towards a biotech company launched by the University of Sheffield. which researches breakthrough therapies to address the underlying causes of MND. The progressive condition is characterised by muscle weakness, paralysis and ultimately respiratory failure.
Well, next tonight, there are calls for the owner of one of the biggest football clubs in our region to sell up, with some staff still waiting to be paid their monthly salary 12 days after it was due.
Chancellor bought Sheffield Wednesday 10 years ago, promising a return to the Premier League. Yet they remain in the second tier and last week were placed under a transfer embargo by the Football League. Chris Dawkes reports.
Mr. Chancellor, this is all yours now.
It's now 10 years since Chancellor paid Milan Mandaric around £35 million to buy Sheffield Wednesday and this small wooden owl. The plan was to take Wednesday back to the Premier League, but like the owl itself, his dream has never taken flight. And now, for the second time in 3 months, the club have been late in paying wages for both playing and non-playing staff. A fan podcast has even started fundraising to help those struggling to pay bills and have so far raised over £4,000.
It's bad enough for the players, but for the people that might be struggling to pay the mortgages and things like that, it's not on. It's really not on, and it should never have ever got to this stage.
Well, we've approached Sheffield Wednesday for comment. They politely declined our request, and the only word from the club on this matter was a statement released last week saying they continue to seek a resolution regarding outstanding salaries and that Mr. Chancellor sincerely apologises to everyone affected.
It's not just the wages. Looking over the years, not enough money is being spent on the ground, which is deteriorating. The training ground, quite frankly, is third rate. The academy is not adequate. The chairman simply hasn't invested. He obviously hasn't had the money, and now that lack of money is coming to the point where he can't pay ongoing costs. Not acceptable. He has to either go or show he can actually run the club properly.
Mr. Chancellor, whose family are the world's largest producers of canned tuna, is reported to have pumped in around £150 million of his own money on top of the £35 million he paid for Sheffield Wednesday. But a football finance expert has told us that if he was to sell, Mr. Chancellor is unlikely to recoup all his investment.
Even if you look at a revenue multiplier valuation of kind of 1.5 to 2, that gets you to about a £50 million valuation. If you look at the upside of Sheffield Wednesday and the potential, you could be pushing that with the stadium back in-house as well to get a valuation sort of in and around 70-75 million.
So Mr. Chancellor is unlikely to get the money that he's invested into this club back?
I think ultimately everything that we're looking at here from the outside looking in and the professional judgment you would apply to those numbers, it's unlikely that that football club commands a £150 million selling price at this point in time.
On the football side, Wednesday did well to finish mid-table in the Championship last season on one of the division's lowest wage budgets. Credit for that goes to head coach Danny Röhl, but after being placed under a transfer embargo last week by the Football League, his future is now unclear.
If you put yourself in his shoes, do you want to work under that cloud? And time's ticking. Pre-season will be starting in 2.5 weeks' time. Who's going to turn up?
A quarter of a century has now passed since this stadium last hosted Premier League football. A return to the big time has never looked so far away. Chris Dawkes, ITV News, Sheffield.
And we'll bring you any developments on that story that we get when we get them. Now, cricket fans who are looking forward to the upcoming England-India test at Headingley might be surprised to know that the Ashes are actually being played in our region this week, and they've got all the drama and rivalry that you would expect when the Aussies are in town.
Yesterday, they're in fact in the small north Lincolnshire village of Haxey, where the England and Wales Transplant cricket team is taking on the Australian Lucky Stars Transplant team. And Lisa Adlam has been watching.
It's one of sport's fiercest and most enduring rivalries. Fought for in historic grounds on opposite sides of the world and in the North Lincolnshire village of Haxey, where an Ashes series with a difference played out today.
Every player involved today and throughout the rest of the week has had some sort of organ or stem cell transplant that saved their life at some point. We're celebrating that. We're playing cricket. That's what we all love. Hopefully having some fun.
I'm 15 years post-transplant myself, so to be able to come over and actually play a game of cricket with our team against the English and Wales transplant side is just absolutely amazing. Something that I never thought that I'd be able to do.
Organ or stem cell donations have allowed not just a return to health, but a return to the game. This 3-match series celebrates that precious gift, but with the England and Wales side one up so far, the traditional competitive edge with the Aussies is never far from the field of play.
The competitive nature that we have against each other and the banter, it's just really good fun. Obviously we all know what we've been through, and it's just good fun.
You guys are experts on your turf, and we're struggling. And you've got a great bowling attack. We're doing our best. We've 100 short last time, but we're out here again today, and I think we'll give it a crack.
And this is what's at stake. Bigger than the Ashes it may be, but it's no less coveted. More important perhaps though is the message of hope behind it.
And they've all received this life-saving and life-changing gift from their donors, which is hugely important. It's allowed them to live the active lives that they're now living.
Rivalries will be renewed when the two sides meet again in West Yorkshire on Friday. But they will also be united by the stories they share and their gratitude for a second innings. Lisa Adlam, ITV News, Hacksey in North Lincolnshire.
Yes, now Lisa likes a game of cricket, and I can reveal, by the way, that Australia won that match, making it 1-1 in the series, so all to play for at New Farnley near Leeds on Friday. Now, finally, tonight, a trip down memory lane to relive some of the funniest moments from a trio of comics who tickled the nation's funny bones for decades.
A new play, The Last Laugh, is on tour in our region after a successful West End run, and it recreates the classic sketches of Tommy Cooper, Bob Monkhouse and Eric Morecambe.
And today the cast met up at York University, which has its own very special connection to one of those maestros of mirth. Fraser Maud reports.
Can you pick up orange on that? It's like world's oldest Oompa Loompa.
Bring me sunshine in your smiles, and bring me 3 of Britain's all-time favourite comedians to look at some of the scripts that brought laughter all the while. And thanks to the University of York, Eric Morecambe's handwritten jokes, scripts and diaries can now be enjoyed by all.
Get my kicks following you around.
For the cast of The Last Laugh, freshly back from performing in New York to now Old York, it's a chance to connect with the legends they're portraying.
Comedy hasn't changed, society has, and you look at this stuff and it's so neat, it's so tidy, it's appropriate, and it's of the era.
Yeah.
But comedy is still funny.
Yeah, and this is what we've learned from doing this play is it's still funny. It's funny, you know, funny's funny, and people still laugh. And as we opened last night in York and we brought the house down, it was brilliant.
Anywhere I will find you, don't care where.
Bob Golding has been Eric Morecambe on and off for 16 years in his one-man play, and now in The Last Laugh.
What makes us closer to Eric, in particular, is his diaries. There's diaries, there's little wallets, there's even his membership card from the Variety Club from 1984, which, of course, was the year that we sadly lost Eric.
For the archivists at the university, it's a chance to lay hands on comedy gold and make it accessible to the public.
There's always a special buzz. There's always that magical value of holding these things and putting them together. It's an incredible privilege that really anyone can have. These are now documents and scripts that anyone could come and look at. And I think that's important too, is that it's not just being locked away where only certain people can see them. This is something for everybody.
For comedy fans, seeing the seeds of so much laughter firsthand really is magical.
One of my earliest childhood memories was seeing Morecambe and Wise perform at the Futurist Theatre in Scarborough. So to see some of the history laid out here is incredible. And let me tell you, these are definitely all the right words in the right order.
But one question remains.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Eric. Who's the funniest?
Oh, it's me. It's definitely me.
It's got to be him.
Ah, well, you'll have to come and see the play to find that out.
Fantastic, brilliant. And of course, Eric Morecambe's partner, Ernie Wise, was born in East Ardsley, went to Thorpe Junior Infant School, and there's a statue of him, of course, in Morley Town Centre.
There we go.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Thanks for that.
A little bit of knowledge there for you.
Yeah. I went to see the play What I Wrote.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, my goodness, that was funny. Yeah, really, really good. So I can imagine this one will be as well.
Oh, lovely to remember our great comics. Now then, let's get the weather forecast from Nick Miller.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, so much warmer today and all of that sunshine, starting to feel a bit more humid as well, and we'll continue with the fine weather until at least the first part of tomorrow, but there are some changes on the way. We have the warmth and the humidity feeding in from the south, becoming even more humid now during the rest of the week, but we've also got low pressure to the west of the UK, and that's going to feed in later tomorrow, some thundery showers our way, and then overnight Friday into Saturday, another batch of potential torrential downpours going into Saturday morning before clearing as the weekend goes on. Still a few showers on Sunday by then, a flow of air coming in from the Atlantic once more, so it will feel fresher. Now, we've had a lovely end to the day that will continue until sunset, and overnight into tomorrow morning, just some patches of cloud here and there. Stays a bit on the breezy side, and certainly a muggier night to come with temperatures holding into double figures. Your sun time, so your sunrise tomorrow just after 4:30, your sunset just after 9:30. Looking at the strawberry moon from last night, should be good view of that again tonight. We'll start the day tomorrow again with plenty of sunshine, albeit quite hazy at times, turning more blustery through the day. The cloud increasing from the south into the afternoon, starting to bring some heavy and possibly thundery showers our way, with a risk of hail too, and they will continue into the evening. Temperatures though heading once again into the mid-20s, just a touch cooler with that breeze coming into coastal areas. Those downpours continue scattered about into the evening. Maybe the odd shower on Friday, but a very warm, even hot and humid day on Friday. Downpours overnight and into Saturday morning, and with a few showers on Sunday, it'll start to feel fresher.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather. Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
A challenging week for hay fever sufferers continues. Levels are looking high even into the weekend as well. A lot of it is grass pollen, but there's some moderate weed pollen around as well. Enjoy your evening.
I was just starting to think that I need to water my plants because they're looking a bit limp, but actually I don't, do I now?
Might be all right, actually. You might get away with it.
Yeah?
It's a big job, isn't it?
Oh, it goes on forever, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That's it from us. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again tomorrow night at 6. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.